heart attack. Fast fatal heart impact. Past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask. Grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word. Then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new submerged juice. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirusho here, and now, before we do begin, let us give a brief little review. In the last part, quite a lot of things have happened. Now, a lot's been going on with the family situation for Koya and Deku. Koya, she encountered her mother and faced her. She confronted her about a lot of problems she's been having, and about the situation with her father Karnak, who is in charge of the organization. She had a panic attack and has been trying to recover. And Deku, he's been trying to convince her not to face her father. Allow him to face Havoc. Allow him to face the being wearing, well, his face, technically, or using his body. Now, Koya has agreed to this. And right now there also is another situation. Havoc is currently heading to the south, and he has weapons with him. He has ships and planes. He also has a few other things up his sleeve. And right now we do actually have the next morning. Now, Deku, he does wake up. And whenever he does so, he actually has to walk downstairs and eat breakfast, acting as if this is just a casual day. Up until whenever he does go to look at his phone and see a few things. There's a few messages on his phone, and looking through a few things, he's a bit more concerned. And they're actually Deku is going to fly out to the south. Him flying through the portal and heading to the Southern Water Tribe. As whenever he does get there, there's a lot going on. Right now, people, they are concerned. Off of the coast of the Water Tribe, they've found something on their scans. And so far, it doesn't look good. Something is heading to their location. And as far as they know, it's none of their troops. It's not the Earth Nations, it's not the Fire Nations, and the Air Nomads, they don't really have a military. So, if it's none of theirs, it must be the organization. Along with that, the fact is, they're heading to the city that is the closest to the Spirit Portal. And that, it does raise some concerns. People, they've been talking. And Deku right now, after sitting down and listening to a few concerns, he does talk with a lot of people. Many of them, they don't know what to do. And right now, the best way of saying it, they're preparing for war. They are about to fight off the organization, the Remnants, and Havoc. Havoc is done playing around. He wants the Spirit Portal, and he wants the Avatar. And Deku, yeah. Right now, he himself is a bit more concerned. He has to fight an entire army. And the South, they don't even know if they have the resources to fight, let alone hold off an attack of this size. Now, Deku, he does try to talk to a few people. And after talking to a lot of people, he does formulate a bit of a plan. He is going to be trying to fly out there and fight. And while he is doing that, he wants them to try and fortify. He wants all the waterbenders in the south to try and keep things safe. And if they can, contact the north and contact the nearby settlements to the north. Contact the Fire Nation, the Earth Nation. Contact anybody. Right now, they need all hands on deck. If the spirit portals are closed, something will happen they do not want to witness. And Deku, yeah. Right now a lot is being put on the line. And as Deku is going to fly away, he does hear a few people talking. They're talking about exactly what this may mean. And Deku, he doesn't really pay much mind, him flying into the distance, as he does look down at the ocean. He needs to formulate a bit of a plan. Multiple planes, multiple ships. And what this might mean. Havik is aboard. He knows that much. Okay, but the idea is in his head. What can he formulate? Okay, he has an entire ocean underneath him. He also has firebending and airbending at his disposal. And he also has spirit bending. But this new art of his, it's not one he's fully mastered. It's not one that he's been used to yet. As far as he's aware, right now this art, the only way he's heard about it being used, he can't use it. And he's concerned about that. Now, there actually is Havik. Right now, Havik, he is looking out. And he's watching. Everything he's been working towards has begun to be undone. Now, he's annoyed. He's put these plans into place for years, and he's been attempting to try and do this for a long time. His old friend, he's still missing, as far as he does know. And right now, trying to break open the spirit well, break both worlds, and make them bleed together, it's the only way he might be able to even do something that can help. If harmonic convergence is allowed to come back around, there's no telling what will happen. Now, Havik, yeah. As a lot is being said, there actually is somebody who would go to alert him of something off of their scanners. And right now, there actually is Deku who is flying in. Whenever he does see the boats in the distance, a few planes do come flying forwards. And Deku, he actually is going to bring up his hands, as he is going to stop. Him getting ready. As a plane is going flying past Deku, Deku is going to turn back. A plane flying directly towards him, as Deku is going to bring up his hands. Him bending down and pulling up as much water as he can. Him immediately freezing it as the plane is directly smashed into the water and skid off the top of the ice. Deku going to directly throw back his hand and then going to pull back up, freezing one of the wings of the plane, as people, they actually do start to try and fight Deku. Some trying to throw bending out at him, and some trying to just shoot at him. And Deku, he does do one simple thing. He does go to directly coat his body in ice, him freezing it, before just bring up his hands, and going to create shields out of his armor. And right now, ice is directly blasting off, well, bullets and other materials are directly blasting off Deku's armor. As somebody do try to attack Deku with metal bending. And Deku is going to directly bring up his hand and go to directly throw his hand out to the right. Him blasting out airbending and knocking the person backwards into the plane. As Deku is going to step forwards, there actually is where he's going to turn. Him, as a plane is firing bullets at him and trying to shoot missiles at him. Deku is seeing that. Before just going to bring up his hand and catch the, weapons. Before the missile is striking in front of Deku. Deku turning his hand as the missiles go flying directly past him and towards the ship behind him. And Deku, he directly does just move. Him using waterbending and sliding into the plane before smashing into it with his arm. Him going to turn his body as he does wrap his body in metallic armor. Now, there actually is inside the plane, where Deku does go directly land onto the ground before going to get back up. A few people going to directly fire weapons at Deku as Deku does going to stand and turn. Them surprised as ammunition is bouncing off of him, before he is just going to step forward and fight. Now, Havik, he is aware of the Avatar's presence. And right now, he's happy the Avatar is here. As the airships, they do continue on. Now, the forces that are here, they are here to distract the Avatar, while one ship in particular is on the move. This ship in particular has the goal of getting to the spirit portal. And Deku, he only finds that out after getting out of this plane after taking everybody down. Him looking around and going to have to bring his hands out to dodge and protect himself from fire. Him directly being hit by a missile as he sent blasting downwards and into the water. Him going to bring his hands up and blast off with firebending as he's going to fly upwards into the air. Him going to strip most of the metallic armor off of his body, and wrapping up some in places that can protect him. Deku basically wearing a metal vest, metal pants, and a metallic helmet. As he is looking around, him going to turn and bring his hands up. As he does, go just bring his hands outwards and blast as hard as he can a chilling breath, freezing a large ship in place as he is going to directly turn, looking at many others. Him going to fly down into the water and then fly back up. As he is covered in a massive amount of water, he does begin to start wreaking havoc on the ships. Him smashing down on many of them, as people there are just trying to keep Deku distracted. And right now Deku, he does try to take out many of these fleets, many of these ships, as there actually is whenever he does get many of them to the point of destruction he believes they need to be at. Right now, planes are still flying around, and many ships, they are trying to let loose explosive ordnance on Deku. And there actually is a massive amount of people in the south. They have been calling for reinforcements. They have been calling for aid. And right now, some people, they're flying in. Members of the Fire Nation and Earth Nation, they are teaming up. And right now, warships are on their way. They are going to be trying to protect this portal. They may not fully understand what the Avatar has said about it, but if he is claiming it is important and there is an actual army on its way there, then it does have to be important. Now, there actually is currently Deku. He is on one of the ships, and he is moving out of the way and dodging out of many things. Him going to bring his hand up as the metal covering his arm is going to shoot out and expand. Deku going to block bullets as he's going to bring up his hand. Him blasting firebending and knocking the person backwards, before going to bring up his other hand and Deku going to start blasting lightning bending all around. And many people, they do watch that, as planes on the deck do begin to start exploding. And Deku, yeah, he's been doing a lot. Now, Deku, he does go look up. As a plane is flying overhead, Deku does go look directly at it. It's blasting missiles down directly towards him. And Deku, as the missiles are flying towards him, he does going to throw up his hands. Him going to catch many of them out of the air. As he's holding 4 missiles back, he does look directly at the pilots, before just going to throw the missiles upwards with his arms, and they're sent flying past him. And Deku, yeah. Right now he does a directly turn. Him bringing his hand up and pulling the plane out of the air. The plane curling downwards and smashing directly into the ocean. Now, Deku does look up. There's an airship heading directly to the south. He can't allow that to get there. Him going to take flight and flying up into the air. As he does so, there actually is where metal does directly wrap around Deku's left leg. Him going to turn and look down as he sees a person. Shit. Deku bring his hand up and attempting to bloodbend them. He doesn't have time for this. He has to get to the south. Now, the person they are pulling Deku in, and Deku, he's confused. Why isn't it working? Why isn't... Deku just going to bring his left leg up and kick the person in the face. As the moment he does, he makes contact with a hard surface. And it does take him a second. The person looking directly back at Deku, as he does stare at their face. They're not a human. They're a robot. Now, this does alarm Deku. As Deku, he goes from trying to, well, blood bend, to going to metal bend. And the person, they actually are still pulling Deku in. As the metallic cord does going to snap, Deku is going to fly away. Him thinking for a second as he's flying through the air. why the hell does Haran have robots? I mean, when? That doesn't make sense. Does it? Now, Deku is flying through the air, and as he is flying, there's something does happen. Deku does look up towards the ship, and after he does so, there's a massive number of things falling. Him going to somewhat turn and shift. Him swinging fire over his legs to slow himself down as he actually is going to dodge out of the way. Him going to move as metal is flung from the sky. And Deku, whenever he does try to move backwards, he does get grabbed by something. Something Deku going to grab onto Deku's body and try and put him into a headlock. And Deku is going to bring up his hands. And he's trying to fight. His physical strength is nothing in comparison to this, as right now he's being swarmed by robots. Now, there actually is back on that ship. Haran, yeah. He made a lot of use of that money that the man before him made. He told Deku quite simply, he uses the money or his fortune to fund them. And the rest of that funding, it was put to good use. Developing weaponoid drones. Now, Haran, he actually is excited. They're going to be arriving in the south. And when they do, him is going to turn and try and keep his feet steady on the ground. As the ship, it does shift. Something is wrong. And there actually is Deku. Right now, Deku, his eyes are glowing as in the Avatar states. Him going to throw his arms outwards and attack the robots. Right now, he's using that metallic armor to try and slice through these robots and attack them. Many of them, they are falling. And others, they're just swarming Deku. Some, they're just trying to apprehend him, grab him, and, well, basically use numbers. And others, they're trying to use targeting systems. The more advanced robots, they can't get a proper shot off on Deku. And right now they're waiting for a command to be opened that basically would allow friendly fire. Now, Deku, he actually is bending. And right now there actually is where Deku he does go to start creating an entire ball of air directly around himself. Him going to blast it outwards as many robots they do go flying away. And the moment the robots do go flying off of Deku, the robots who were waiting for a proper shot, they fire at him. And Deku, after going to see that, he is just going to bring up his hands and attempt to metal bend everything in the area. Him being able to stop some of the shots, as he is going to try and turn and redirect many of them, before trying to use, well, airbending to block the ones that he can't dodge. Now, Deku is sent flying down towards the water. As he is so, he does go to trying to re-steady himself out. Him going to blast fire out of his feet as he's heading up towards the air balloon, or the giant airship. Him going to throw out his hands and trying to bend it down. Now, Haran, he is annoyed. And right now, he does go to directly deploy something. Now, tons of people they're sent out, as they're sent to attack Deku. And Deku, yeah. Whenever these people are deployed, they're all flying down towards him. And he's confused. Right now somebody does come flying towards him. And there's a strange mist being sent at him. Deku bringing his hands up and going to directly blast a hole of air directly through it. And trying to fly through. And these people, they're just trying to attack him. He doesn't understand. What's going on? Why are they all like this? Let me what Deku does think. As right now, a few of the people who did fly past Deku, on their way down, they do come flying back up. And whenever they do, they actually do all go to try and fire directly at Deku. Deku having his arms and legs wrapped up. As the moment that does actually happen, he does try to fight back. His strength, it's good. But right now, he doesn't understand. And he's being pulled backwards in this strange cloud. Deku actually going to turn his hands and grab onto the wires. As he does go to pull his hands closer together, and sending a large shock of lightning through them. Now, a lot of these people, they are zapped by the lightning. And whenever Deku, he actually is able to rip these cords free, he does get a turn. Him going to blast out a giant comet of fire. This thing going to fly directly down and smashing into many people, along with even vaporizing some of that cloud. And Deku is going to turn back, him blasting a very large fireball upwards and into the giant airship. As Deku, he doesn't try to bring his hands up once again, him attempting to pull it downwards and out of the sky. Now, Deku, he does continue to be attacked and assaulted. And right now, robots, troops, you name it. He's trying to be a one-man army and fending off all these things, all while trying to bring down one giant ship. Now, Deku, he is trying to buy time. And right now the Earth Kingdom and the Fire Nation, their airships, and even some of their military, they actually are beginning to get closer and closer, and on the way. And Deku, as he is holding out, something does come flying by. Deku turning his head as the large airship does get struck by a large amount of force. And there actually is Havoc. Havoc, he is annoyed. Him actually going to somewhat step out of the airship. And whenever he does so, he actually is going to float there. As the airship, it's careening downwards into the ice. And he does get a look around, seeing the person responsible. As the large machine, it is flying back around. It's attempting to make sure to destroy the entire plane, or the vessel. Now, there actually is Havoc, who does have his eyes go to glow before going to bring up his hands. And the ship, it does go to stop in midair, before it does start to somewhat crunch down into a smaller size. And Deku does get to see that. Him flying forwards and directly towards the ship. Him flying directly past it and going to directly blast out a large amount of fire. Now, the large comet does fly towards Havoc. Him going to bring his hands up and going to disperse it with airbending. Now, when it does happen, the planes start to fly out of the sky. And Deku does got to look down. As the person, they do go to jump out of it and try to use their parachute. And the moment Deku does get to see that, he does get a directly turn. Him looking at many of the other troops who are still flying towards him. And Deku, he does make an attempt. Him going to swipe his hand out with earthbending. And the moment he does get to do that, a lot of things happen. Many of the machines behind him, they start to crumple. And some, their internal workings, parts are destroyed. Right now, some they are maintaining flight. And others, they're losing their balance. Now, Deku is watching them fall. Him going to turn back to Havoc, as Havoc is flying directly towards Deku. Him going to bring his hands up and blast metal bending directly at Deku. And Deku, he actually does go to bring his hands up and stop the metal in the air. Havoc shifting to a different element before going to cock back his hand and blast out flames. And the moment that actually has happened, Deku, he does get to bring up his hands. Him going to shift the metal on his body around into a barrier. The flames smashing into the metal, as Deku, he does then go to reshift. As so does Havoc. Havoc turning to his original element of waterbending, and going to fly down. Now, Deku is going to follow Havoc. And right now Havoc, he does fly directly down into the water. And Deku, he's concerned about what's going on down there. Before Havoc, he does come flying back out with a massive creation of water. And Deku, he actually is going to use firebending to fend this thing off. As, right now, Koya, her and many other people, they are trying to get to this location. They are trying to figure out what's going on. And there actually is Yu. Yu, she's flying on Deku's glider. And whenever she actually is over the ocean, she just watches the airship is hitting into the water. And it is currently submerging as there is a large torrent of fire being flung around. And the large creation of water, it's moving. Now, just see that. Her attempting to fly in and smash into this large creation. Her trying to, with her glider, cut it in half. Or at least get some of the water away from this thing. And right now, Havoc, after seeing Yu, he was going to turn directly towards her. Him going to directly bring his hand up and attempt to bloodbend her. And the moment Yu, she actually does try to move back into her glider, and she's going to directly freeze, Deku is going to see that. Him going to bring back his hand and directly try and zap lightning at Havoc. Havoc, who's submerged in water, being struck with the force. Him screaming out as Deku, he does watch the man begin to start falling back towards the ground. And Havoc smashes into the ground before he is going to try and stay back up. Him breathing heavily as Deku hears him floating down. You know, Havoc, I've learned a lot. Or should I call you Karnak? You insolent boy. Insolent. Really? You say that to me after everything I've done for you. Deku is stepping forwards and going to pull back his hand as his metal bracer does turn into a bit more of a spike. You know, after a lot of stuff I did for you, I followed you willingly, without question. And I gotta say, you pissed me off. I believed you. Deku walking in front of him, pulling back his hand and trying to stab downwards into Havoc. Havoc going to roll and blast him. Havoc blasts Deku with lightning. And Deku, yeah. Metal gauntlets, a metal jacket, and basically metal pants. He is a lightning rod, surrounded by snow. And Deku is blasted backwards. Deku, he tried to defend. However, his left arm, it took the brunt of that blast. And right now Deku, he's laying in the snow trying to stand back up. His arm is numb. And it hurts. And Deku, when he could look back down towards where Havoc was, he saw another flash of light. Before hearing what sounded like airbending. And Deku did go to look down. Havoc is running. He's using something. He's on the move. Now, you just come running over to Deku. Ask him if he's okay. As she actually does look a bit injured. I'm fine. Where did he go? He's heading for the portal. Do you got it? Yeah, I do. Just let me get on my feet. Damn it. Fuck. My head. Are you okay? Yeah, I am. They're going to stand. And Yushi's going to directly grab something off of Deku, asking him if he still does feel fine. I do. Why? You holding it up. And Deku is going to turn his head to see something. As she does going to hold up a bullet with a spike on it. What is that? I don't know. It was just on you. Now, Deku, he's surprised. Him going to turn and fly upwards into the air. However, he can't. His quirk isn't working. And Deku, he comes to a realization after a second. That must have been a quirk-destroying bullet. But why the fuck does Havoc have one? Now, you just look at Deku. Before just going to try and hand over her glider and tell him to go, since he needs to be on the move. And right now Deku, he is going to take the glider, him grabbing it with one hand, before going to directly lean in and kiss you, pulling back and turning around. Him going to go into a running start, before going to open up the glider and fly upwards into the air. And right now, he needs to chase down Havoc. As Havoc, yeah. Right now, he is bending down on his knees. And with both of his hands, he is constantly spinning a turn of air. He's using an air cycle. And he's on the move. He needs to get to that fucking well. Close it and then head up north. If he can close it behind him, Deku, he shouldn't be able to open it back up on this side. But he has to be precise with this. If he can close it and then close the one up north, then it should be fine. Okay, let's see. I have to be precise. I was lucky enough to get the avatar with that thing. But now my doubts are starting to set in. You cannot doubt yourself at this point. Okay. Plenty of other people can be used. If this vessel of yours does break, you can find another one. But the avatar, if I can get him into the spirit world, maybe I won't even need to close the portals. Let me know what Havoc is thinking. And right now, Deku, he's trying to chase him down. Deku, he no longer has access to that quirk. And using airbending to stay up in the air, yeah. He's turning this trip into a bit longer. And right now, he does find Havoc. However, Havoc, yeah. He already does go to fly directly into the spirit world. And Deku, he goes in directly after him. As right now when the two do get there, Havoc, he does go to turn. Him, with his eyes glowing, attempting to try and use energy bending. And Deku, he actually directly move out of the way as Havoc, he does blast at the well. Now, Havoc, he sends out a strange blast, and Deku does watch it. As the man, he just stares up at Deku. I see. Damn it. Well then, Avatar. Welcome to my world. It's so very nice of you to be here. So nice of you to join me here. Really? I've been here before. Not a fan. Besides, spirits, they won't come here. They sense me. They know what to do. Now, give up, Havoc. I will not bend to you. I have not bent for eons. And I will not bend now. Deku is staring at Havoc. As Havoc, he does go to bring his hands up. And Deku does watch. As Havoc, he's attempting to do something strange. And Deku, he just stares. The energy connecting both of the wells. It's bending together into a single connection. What are you doing? Deku bring up his hands. As right now, Havoc, he does comment on it. The Avatar really doesn't know what he's doing, does he? He doesn't understand the same element he bends. He might be a master of 4 elements, but he is a master of 1. The one required on this side. And Deku, he does try to fight Karnak with energy bending. Karnak is trying to get these two streams to touch and connect. And Deku, he's trying to prevent that. Him with his left hand up and his right hand up as well. And right now, Karnak, he does pay attention to Deku. As over Deku, he is trying to prevent these two wells from connecting together. Karnak does go to Deku, bring down his left hand, and blast towards Deku to hit him. And Deku, he does go to look down a bit too late. Now, Deku, as his hands are both up, he does go to Deku move his head. However, his left arm is hit by this blast of energy. And right now, Deku, he does feel a searing pain. Before he does Deku go to fall backwards and smash Deku into the ground. Him bringing his right hand up and screaming. As Havoc, he does go look back up towards the air, bringing his hands up and pulling both of them together. As he does pull together both of these streams, reconnecting the two, Now, Deku is going to turn, him on the ground, clutching his wounds. And right now, he does go to attempt to stand back up. As Deku, whenever he does go to stand, he does go to bring up his right hand. Him going to throw out his left, as the moment he does, his left arm, it isn't there. Deku looking towards it. And right now, his eyes, they fill with fear. His right arm, it's there. But his left arm, by the elbow, it's been... Deku looking towards the ground. And right now, he does see his left hand. Deku, he doesn't know what to say. As Havoc, he does start to laugh. Him asking the Avatar if he'd like a round of applause. Because he's failed once again. And Deku does go look up, looking right at Havoc. And Havoc does stare at Deku. Him telling the Avatar that it was fruitless. Every effort he's made, he's always been one step ahead. He's always tried to be this saint, but he isn't. Now, Deku, he does look at Havoc, before going to bring up his left arm and go to try and metal bend. And right now Havoc does watch. As Deku, the entire amount of metal covering his body, it does go to shift over and move. And Deku, he does enter the Avatar state. As Deku, he does create a metal arm and hand. And Havoc does start looking at Deku. Him, a bit annoyed, as Deku, he does exit the Avatar state and he's panting heavily. And he does go look directly back at Havoc, shouting at him that if he thinks a little fucking flesh wound will stop him, he has another thing coming. Now, Havoc, he does go bring his hands up. As, whenever he does so, he does go bring them together before closing his hands in a fist. And Deku does watch, as Havoc basically does go throw them downwards and bend. And Deku does hear it. The sound. As Deku, he does go throw his hands up in an attempt to stop Havoc. And right now Havoc, he just closed the portals. And the resulting chaos that's about to ensue, and it's about to, in the best way of saying it, rip both worlds apart. Now, Deku, he does feel it. His eyes do start to glow. And right now Deku, after bringing up his hands, he does watch it. There is a massive hole beginning to form. And, well, it's like someone just dragged a knife directly through the sky. It's being torn open. And Deku, he does go to bring his hands up and try to seal it. Him attempting to try and hold both worlds together. As Havoc is going to fly forwards. Him directly smashing into Deku and going to directly pull back his hand. Now, Deku is struck directly across the torso. And he does just want to fly backwards into the ground, still holding up his hand. As Havoc does inform him walking forwards. Once again. He's been in this world for how long? 20 years? Nearly more than that? Well, it is quite a shame. He does have to say, the Avatar, he has failed. Now, it is time for him to leave this vessel behind, re-enter the human world, and truly live up to his namesake. Now, Deku does watch Havoc. The man's eyes, they go to glaze over, before he does go to fall forwards. And Deku, he's laying there on the ground, as he still does have his hands up. As Havoc, he does get to look down towards Deku and see him. The Avatar underneath his boot. Such a pathetic excuse for a being. Him going to pull back his foot and smash it down. And right now Deku, he does try to protect himself. As Havoc, after smashing into the floor, he does go to look directly down and see that there's nothing left. before he does going to turn and start laughing, throwing back his head and commenting that now he will at least see what the human world is all about, truly witness it, and watch its destruction. As Havoc, he does going to travel through the portal. And right now, Deku, he actually is going to somewhat sandbend into safety, basically turning the area above him back into sand. Now, Deku, with his good hand, is going to crawl out. And whenever he does so, he actually does going to gasp for air. He has broken ribs and he just lost his arm. And his vision, he can't see too well. He can't hear too good. What the hell? What can he do? What can he do? Deku looking back up. He needs to reopen the portals. He needs to reopen the portals. Deku bring up his right hand and attempting to bend them again. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed and have an amazing day. Catch you guys in the next part.